Welcome to the veg plot. It's a what they call no dig now, but it's basically a permaculture method of growing food, which is 100% organic, working with nature, looking after the soil, I guess more than the plants really, to get the best we can from the plants, to get maximum nutrition out of the plants, to get maximum minerals and vitamins from the plants, and in that respect it really does work, and it's a great method. So I'll be hoping to grow all my food for the next 12 months, and we're starting here on the 24th of April. It's a 10-degree day. We've had the weather in April this year has been up and down like it always is in April. We've got a couple of frost forecasts. I've got new season potatoes just coming up, so we're going to have to protect them. And all these things I will show you what I do. Just wait for the chopper. So I hope you come along with me on this journey this year, where I show you what I am doing, what I am growing, how I grow. Hope to pass on a lot of tips and little tricks and methods of growing, methods of slug control, methods of pest control, methods of feeding, and kind of all things compost making, things I've learnt over a lifetime of growing food. I'll be showing you these new hot composting bins which I built last year, which are absolutely amazing for producing top quality compost. I'll be taking you through the Polytunnel probably weekly and showing you what's going on in there and how the plants are growing and what we're growing this year. I'll be giving regular plot tours, see how the plants are getting on. I'll be doing little trials and things as well, and experiments with different things to see what produces the best results and crops. Right, so what I'm going to do is give you just a brief tour of the allotment, and then we'll start putting videos on every week about different aspects of the allotment, different things, showing you how I do things, showing different techniques and methods. Let's have a walk around now. I'll take you up into the Polytunnel. I'll show you what's growing in there and what's ready to go out. So here we are on the very first bed. And these are those potatoes I was just talking about. They're a first early potato called Swift, and they're literally just poking through. But over the next sort of 2-3 days we're going to have to protect these against frost. Again, I'll come back to that. The planks are here for a very specific reason. Again, I'll come back to that on another video. Another row there of new potatoes, first early Swift, and then a sowing of second early potatoes which aren't up yet. They were sown 2 weeks after. We've got a lot of things in these beds now. We've got kohlrabis, cabbage and cauliflowers and onions. Garlic and carrots are the reason for doing the garlic with the carrots as well. And we've got some summer sprouts over there. We have some cabbage and cauliflowers in there. And we have spinach and kohlrabi in there. We have a big bed of lettuce here. We have lettuce there and a failed crop of carrots which did not germinate. And I'll tell you why that happened. We have just 2 rows of peas there which have literally just gone on. This is the pea and gutter technique. I've done a video on that and I will upload that shortly. There we have a cage full of broad beans which are fully in flower, and it's really benefiting the bees at the moment. That there's not much food around for the bees, so they're finding that a welcome addition to their diet. Let's go in the tunnel. This is a new fruit cage that's literally just gone off, and it's to keep the birds off these fruits. I'll talk a lot more about fruits and bird control in later videos. There we have a raspberry patch there, and more beds here awaiting crops. The tunnel is a DIY polytunnel. I do have a video on that which I will further edit down. I did show how I constructed this. It's mainly made from pallets, and I'll show you the water collection system I use. I cannot continue with the gutters on this side yet because the plastic on this was put on in March. The temperatures were too low and still are to tension this plastic, so I will show you a video of how I'm going to tension this, and then we'll fit the gutters, then we'll have a full guttering system all the way around and into the tunnel. So here we are with our quick polytunnel tour. I do have a box here, sort of a plastic covered coal frame, which some of these tender plants will be going into at night over the coming days. It's basically, at the moment it's basically a nursery for these plants, so many of which will be going outside when the weather turns for the better. But we are able to get some things in, like these lettuce, which are doing picks on, so we're kind of leaf picking from the bases of the plants, and we're just continually cropping them, getting lots of lettuce leaves off them, which is really good. There's 3 or 4 or 5 different varieties, sort of rockets and these Lolo Rosso types, and we've got these outrageous they're actually called, and we've got these kind of cincel leaf lettuce here. There's literally all kinds of things in here. I mean, I'll show a lot of these videos of planting these things out. You know, that's, for instance, the sweet corn there and the broccolis, successionally sowing plants. Sweet potatoes here. These were grown from slips from the actual sweet potato and then potted on. We've got a trial going on here of 3 buckets. These are the same variety of potato, again Swift, grown in 3 different mediums. We're going to do a trial on this. I already started the video on this of how these potatoes are growing and the resulting outcome. When we empty the buckets out, let's see what sort of crops we get, what size the potatoes are, you know, what they look like, probably what they taste like as well, if there's a taste difference in them. I have some very early carrots here planted in January, just coming up nicely now. Just keep thinning on them. The back there's more sweet potatoes. There will be a full bed of sweet potatoes going outside. More sweet peppers there, bell peppers. A couple of grapevines there which have just literally gone in. This is a red grape, seedless. There's another one there, a little tiny one. Another story on that, of how I almost killed it with kindness. A couple of beetroot in that corner there, which survived the shafter grubs that were in the ground when we put this tunnel up. I think we've hopefully got rid of those now. Calabrese here, which again have been in since sort of last October, November time. They have bolted. I'm just leaving them in the ground at the moment, just for added protection from the cold, because they are a physical barrier to stop cold coming through. And it's always good to have things in the ground. The cauliflowers are the only things that are probably going to produce in here from last year's crops. More calabrese and broccoli over there. We have some rocket lettuce here, which have all gone to seed. But you still keep picking these. You can eat all the parts of this plant are edible, and these little florets and flowers and seed heads are so tasty. They really are. So we're constantly picking on them. And that's it. And the strawberries, as I said, I've done a video on the peas that are grown in sort of these gutters like this. Once they get to 4 or 5 inches high and they start putting out tendrils, that's when they're ready to go outside. There's the 2 gutters there that have literally just been emptied, and they will be planted up again now, because I intend to have, I think, maybe 24, 36 feet of peas growing by length. Some really early strawberries just starting to come ready now for April, very early really. But we'll be getting sporadic little pickings off these strawberries, and then in another month I expect them to really start to produce leeks. There are some of my tomatoes which will both be growing inside and outside, different varieties, some inside and some outside. There generally is a taste difference, I find, between tomatoes grown inside and outside. The outside ones tend to be much flavoursome, more sweeter, in my opinion. That's what I've always found anyway. These are a plant called a yacon, which I've never grown before, but I am really looking forward to these things growing this year. We also have a lot of flowers growing here. Seedlings, These will all be going outside. They will be interplanted in the beds, on the ends of rows, in the borders around the allotment, and they're to bring in beneficial insects and predators to help us manage the aphids and the other nuisance insects on the vegetables. Well, you can obviously see the colour change from the side of the tunnel there to the back of the tunnel, and even though it's April and the trees are still not fully in leaf, when the trees are in leaf, this whole back of the tunnel is literally jet black and rather cold and chilly, being the woodland being so shaded. So the mirrors went up, and purely for a bit of cold protection, because if they get very cold winds off that back side, but the main reason for them is to reflect light back into the tunnel from that end, because the zero light comes in from the back. So the mirrors reflect light onto the plants that will be growing on that end. About 10 days ago I put in this little bird box, which within 2 to 3 days had blue tits backwards and forwards. They are now nesting in it. The whole box incidentally is clad with steel sheet around the outside base, top and back, and that is to stop the grey squirrels, the nuisance squirrels, the real pest in this country, the grey squirrels. And they're doing a lot of damage to our native red population. The steel is literally to stop them chewing the way through the box and eating the chicks. It also prevents them from woodpeckers and things, which will also eat the chicks. This is a new tree that's just been planted. It's an apple called Gala. There's a lot of blossom on it already, and I'll be showing you how I manage the fruit on this tree and how we do pruning and fruit management on it. It does look a little bit scruffy here, but I have literally just put that new trellis up there as some wind protection for the back. And these canes are just being used for odd jobs around the site. I'm about to clear all this. So just a little quick walk down now. As we walk back to the front, sprouts, summer sprouts, some kale and parsnip, garlic and carrots, onions. We had a rabbit problem, more on that. Broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower. Successional sowings be going on there, and a few more little kale there. This is the composting area of the allotment. I just cannot emphasize how important it is to have to make your own really good compost. I will go through all this. These are basically hot composting bins which were made last year, and they are amazingly good at making compost. I will do you a separate video on that, how I constructed them, and some clips I have of the compost making process. 2 more storage bins, one for compost and one for wood chip, rotted down wood chip, which is a great resource. The smell coming off these beans, by the way, is I really love the scent. It's as sweet as any rose. They're a hardy planter broad beans. They are both beneficial for us and for the soil, and more of that on future videos. They are netted over. The net doesn't quite stretch, but it's to allow the bees in from this side. The prevailing stronger winds come from that front, so it is some protection to stop them getting absolutely beat up by the wind. Well, hopefully you'll come along with me on this journey, and as I say, if you like what you see or you want to see more, why not subscribe? It's totally free, and I will see you soon in the next video. Bye for now.